Welcome to Nazi Crime Series. Next episode today, we will talk about the Nuremberg Laws. The Nuremberg Laws, enacted on September 15, 1935, were not just another set of legal statutes. They were a cornerstone in the Nazis' systematic plan to dehumanize and eradicate the Jewish people. These laws, which institutionalized racial discrimination, were a calculated step in the Nazis' broader agenda of racial purity and dominance. By legally codifying anti-Semitism, the Nuremberg Laws made it state policy to segregate, oppress, and eventually exterminate Jews. This episode delves deeply into the origins, enactment, and far-reaching consequences of the Nuremberg Laws, illustrating how legal instruments can be weaponized to perpetrate unimaginable crimes. The seeds of the Nuremberg Laws were sown long before the Nazis came to power. Anti-Semitism had deep roots in European history, but under the Nazis, it was transformed from a social prejudice into a state-sponsored ideology. Adolf Hitler, in his Manifesto Mein Kampf, laid out his vision of a racially pure Germany, free of Jews, whom he blamed for all of Germany's woes. Once in power, the Nazi regime wasted no time in translating this hateful ideology into concrete policies. Early actions, such as the boycotting of Jewish businesses and the exclusion of Jews from public life, were precursors to the more draconian measures that would follow. The Nazi propaganda machine played a crucial role in spreading anti-Semitic ideas, portraying Jews as subhuman and as a threat to the Aryan race. This constant barrage of hate-filled rhetoric created an atmosphere where the Nuremberg Laws could be introduced with little public opposition. The laws were a legal expression of the racial theories espoused by the Nazis, theories that categorized people based on their bloodline and sought to purify the German population by excluding those deemed racially inferior. The Nuremberg Laws consisted primarily of two statutes: the Reich Citizenship Law and the Law for the Protection of German Blood and German Honor. The Reich Citizenship Law was a fundamental blow to Jewish existence in Germany. It redefined citizenship in the Third Reich, stating that only those of German or related blood could be Reich citizens. Jews, who had been full citizens, were now classified as subjects of the state, devoid of rights and protections. This law effectively erased Jewish identity in the legal sense, making Jews stateless within their own country. It was a chilling precursor to the more extreme measures that would later be employed to isolate and eliminate Jews from society. The Law for the Protection of German Blood and German Honor was even more insidious. It aimed to prevent any mixing of Aryan and Jewish blood, which the Nazis saw as a contamination of the Aryan race. The law prohibited marriages and extramarital relations between Jews and non-Jewish Germans, and declared existing marriages between Jews and non-Jews void. The Nazis believed that maintaining the purity of Aryan blood was essential for the survival of the German people, and this law was a crucial step in their racial purification program. The law also forbade Jews from employing German women under the age of 45 in their households, further isolating Jews and reinforcing the idea of Jewish inferiority. These prohibitions were not merely symbolic, they were rigorously enforced, with violators facing severe penalties. The law entrenched a system of apartheid within Germany, where Jews were systematically excluded from social and economic life. The impact of the Nuremberg Laws on the Jewish community was immediate and devastating. Jews were stripped of their rights, their dignity, and their sense of belonging. The laws created a legal framework that legitimized the persecution of Jews, leading to their increasing marginalization and eventual deportation to ghettos and concentration camps. The Nuremberg Laws marked the beginning of an organized effort to exclude Jews from all aspects of German society. Jewish professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, were no longer allowed to practice their professions, and Jewish businesses were boycotted or forcibly taken over by Aryans. Jewish children were expelled from public schools, and Jewish families found themselves increasingly isolated, their social networks and support systems eroding under the weight of state-sanctioned discrimination. The economic impact was equally severe. Jewish businesses were Aryanized, a euphemism for the forcible transfer of Jewish-owned businesses to non-Jewish Germans, often at a fraction of their value. This expropriation of Jewish wealth was a key component of the Nazi strategy to finance their war machine and further impoverish the Jewish community, rendering them even more vulnerable. The psychological toll on the Jewish community was profound. Jews, who had been integral members of German society for centuries, were now treated as pariahs, their rights and identities systematically stripped away. The Nuremberg Laws destroyed the fabric of Jewish life in Germany, breaking apart families and communities. The sense of fear and helplessness was pervasive, as Jews were left to wonder what further degradations awaited them under Nazi rule. The cultural impact was also significant. Jewish traditions, religious practices, and community life were severely disrupted. Synagogues were desecrated, Jewish schools were closed, and Jewish cultural institutions were dismantled. The Nuremberg Laws were not just about legal oppression, they were an assault on Jewish identity, aimed at erasing Jewish culture from the German landscape. The international response to the Nuremberg Laws was largely muted, reflecting a broader reluctance to confront the growing menace of Nazi Germany. While some international leaders condemned the laws, there was little action taken to challenge the Nazi regime or to protect the Jewish population. This lack of decisive action signaled to the Nazis that they could continue their policies of persecution with impunity. The Nuremberg Laws were a warning sign of the horrors to come, yet the world largely looked the other way. In some quarters, there was even admiration for Hitler's ability to restore order and stability to Germany, despite the brutal methods employed. The apathy or outright complicity of other nations allowed the Nazis to escalate their anti-Semitic policies, leading to the mass deportations and exterminations that characterized the Holocaust. The Nuremberg Laws were a crucial step in the Nazis' broader genocidal plan. By legally defining Jews as outsiders and stripping them of their rights, the Nazis laid the groundwork for the final solution, the systematic extermination of the Jewish people. The dehumanization of Jews that began with the Nuremberg Laws made it easier for the Nazis to carry out mass murder on an unprecedented scale. The laws were a chilling reminder of how quickly a society can descend into barbarism when hate is codified into law. As the Nazi regime expanded its control over Europe, the principles of the Nuremberg Laws were exported to occupied territories, where similar measures were imposed on Jewish populations. The Nuremberg Laws became a template for the legal framework used to justify the Holocaust, demonstrating the deadly consequences of institutionalized racism. The Nuremberg Laws remain a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the ease with which a legal system can be corrupted to serve the purposes of hate and oppression. These laws were not just a prelude to the Holocaust, they were an integral part of it, providing the legal justification for the persecution and eventual extermination of 6 million Jews. The legacy of the Nuremberg Laws is a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance in the face of hatred and the need to protect human rights for all. They serve as a warning of the consequences when prejudice is enshrined in law and when societies allow hatred to go unchecked. In remembering the Nuremberg Laws, we are reminded of the need to stand up against injustice and to ensure that the horrors of the past are never repeated. The story of the Nuremberg Laws is not just a historical lesson, it is a call to action to protect the rights and dignity of all people, to challenge discrimination in all its forms, and to ensure that the dark chapters of history are never forgotten. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.